Welcome back to our new series celebrating the full release of Captain of Industry. We're playing on a very cool looking map, Insula Mortis, also a big map with a lot of challenges. Follow this series to learn how to master the game or just enjoy this fun ride. Let's dive in. Today, episode 18. But before, a quick recap. In the last episode, we made some great progress in our hub over here. In our bus, our new production bus, we have now started 3 research lab level 4 with, of course, the actual lab equipment. So that has started. We've also built, but not started yet, the large vehicle depot, the depot level 3, with also, those vehicle parts level 3, but we're ready for that in this new episode. We've also started to make the goods for people that we have access to, both the household goods and the appliances. We don't have the computers yet, but that can be the next one over here. Of course, we also did a few other things. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see the full playlist and in particular this last episode. But now today, let's dive into this new episode because that's a big one. If you remember in the last episode, we also had a problem with electricity. We were started at times to go above 48 megawatts, and even the 48 megawatts was hard to get because, this is when everything over here is going at full speed. So in this episode today, we want to go into nuclear. Okay, a few years into the future, and we started to build over here the large vehicles. So we have the vehicle depot level 3, and slowly but surely we're going through the improvement of all of our vehicles. You can see, for example, over here, a first haul truck by transporting 180 at the maximum of liquid, 8 of these large haul truck that can dump anything, again 180, and we even have some of those large excavator. They are huge, but as you can see, we still have a long way to go. 13 small excavator, more than 100 trucks that still need to be improved. But yeah, we built this. We started also those assembly electrics level 2 to make vehicle parts level 3, and I've also connected what we need, which is the rubber and the steel from the bus, right? It's coming directly from the bus over here. That was an easy one. We also have the diesel over there, but we're definitely having some problems. The first one is electricity. This has definitely been a problem in the background. So I started to build my nuclear facility. I'm gonna show it to you in a second. But before that, I wanted to show you that the coal mine over here is completely empty. There is no coal at all that is left. If I press L to go into my overlays, right, there's no more coal at all. So the huge mine over here is done. But the good thing is we've started the mine there, right? We have now a big, huge mine of coal there. So we're gonna have some time before we have a problem. As you can see, we actually have too much coal. So that's not a problem. We've solved this. So actually the cargo depot that was there for coal in the past has now been changed. Now it has been changed into uranium ore because there's no uranium on the map. So the only way to get it is from, the world map over here. For me, it is this one there, yeah? So basically I've paused the coal mine there and instead we're using the uranium mine over here. It's a level 2, so it's only 18 per minute, but you'll see 18 per minute is plenty to start with. So let me show you my nuclear facility, which is over here. This is only nuclear version 1, using the basic nuclear reactor that you can see over here, right? You need the uranium enrichment and then the nuclear reactor. But in this version 1 of the game, we have then the nuclear reactor level 2, and we even have the fast breeder reactor. So in the future, we'll definitely do more complex than this, but as you can see, this is already pretty impressive. So let me try to explain what's happening, but of course, you can also find on my Discord community the blueprints to build this yourself. I'll probably divide it into 2 or 3 parts. This is one part, this is the second over here, and maybe this is the third. But yeah, let's go into the main building. This is the nuclear reactor. This main building over here is going to take water and uranium rod to make some steam, high, and a bit of spent fuel. I'll explain all of this in a second, but basically what I want to show you is this is not producing electricity, right? This is just producing a lot of steam. Then you're gonna put steam into the same building we've been putting, meaning, those pressure turbine. The only difference is in the past, we've been using the level 1, now we have unlocked the level 2. They require construction part level 4, but they're a lot better. They're a lot better for 2 reasons. For the high and low pressure turbine, they're just better in terms of space. They're not that much better in terms of conversion. If you look over here, this is 24 to make 6, this is 48 to make 12. So it's basically the same in terms of efficiency, it's just it takes less space because it's the same space but double the output. It also takes the same amount of people, right? It's 2 and 2, but it requires maintenance level 2. And it's the same on this case over here, right? It is 24 for 3, 48 for 6, 2 people, but a maintenance level 2. Big difference is for the power generator. You know, what is transforming the mechanical power into electricity. We used to use those small ones that were transforming 3 into 2. That is a 66% efficiency, right? We're losing a bit, we're losing 33%. Now with those ones, we're gonna transform 18 into 15. Similar to those ones over here, this is going to take a lot less space. But more importantly, this is a better efficiency, right? So instead of 66%, we move to 83%. That's definitely a lot better. So for sure, suggest we use those level 2. But yeah, as I said, this is basically not going to create electricity. This is just creating a lot of steam because this is 93 at level 1, but you can also go to level 3. So at level 3, we're talking about 288. And this is also why you can see over here I have 3 lines. This is linked to the 3 level. You can run at level 1 all the time if you want. You can run all the time at level 3. This is mostly a modularity depending on what you need, because you may have realized that I don't have flywheels. We're not going to have flywheels. In the case of a nuclear reactor, this is not something that's going to start and stop. No, once it's going, it's going. It's not never gonna stop. So you need to use all of the steam. If you don't use the steam, then it's going to be sent into cooling to avoid that this thing overheats, but it's going to stop. Now, so we need water and we need uranium rods. So let's start with the water. That's the easy one. It's coming from this side over here. I have 2 of these pipes. They are exactly the same. The one at level 1 is going for this one. The one at level 2 will go for that one once we build it. So basically, if I want, I can double the electricity production in the future. I have exactly the same on this side. But yeah, the water is coming from here, from this gigantic fluid storage. This fluid storage is to make sure that we always have water, because once again, if this stops, if you don't have water also to cool it, this will overheat, this will explode. And if you have a nuclear explosion, basically a lot of your people are gonna die. Even if it's far from your city, it's not gonna change anything. So we want a lot of water, and that's why we have this fluid storage. Now, where am I going to get my water? Well, the reality is this is water positive. This is going to create more water than it actually uses. But at the beginning, you do need a bit of water to start it, which is why I have this kickoff storage over here of water. This is sending this water on this pipe there, which is going into this balancer. And this is this pipe there that is not prioritized. What is prioritized is all of the water that's coming from here. But if for some reason this stops, then we're gonna use this water. Or again, to kick off the production, we have this water. The way we're gonna make water in a positive way, as I said, is over here. Because we're gonna take a bit of seawater, 24 steam depleted, and make 33 water. So from 24, we're gonna make 33, which is again a surplus, right? We're also gonna make a bit of brine. So how does that work? Well, basically on this side over here, we're getting the seawater. Seawater is coming from this side. We have 4 of them. They're going, at level 0, I think. Yeah, the level 0 the whole way. This is this pipe over here at level 0 the whole way. So that is that. And then we're gonna have steam depleted. Steam depleted is actually this pipe over here that's coming back from this. Because remember, we're transforming the steam high into steam low into the high pressure turbine. Then the steam low is going over here into the low pressure turbine to be transformed into steam depleted. And so then we're taking the steam depleted over here, all right? And this is what's coming over here to go all the way into my thermal desalinators to be transformed into water. So water, once again, is what you can see over here, right? Going into this major fluid storage. And you're going to also get a bit of brine. This is what you can see over here at level 1. Going to go all the way over here, make a bit of a reserve. It's good to have a reserve, but then everything else can go all of the way over here to be sent into the sea, right? All of this sent to the sea. You have a lot more of these liquid dumps. These ones are gonna be using the water. Because again, we're water positive. So it's great at the beginning, we're going to send the water over here. Great, but then at some point, there's gonna be too much water. And if this stops, because there's too much water, then the steam will stop and will stay over here. So that's not great. What you could do is you could send this steam into the atmosphere. But what I decided instead is I'm sending the water back into, this is just one worker, it's really not a lot. So this is how we're getting water and also dealing with water and brine. Then the other big thing is the uranium rods. This is going to come from here. We have a bit of a storage. I'm gonna hope to, build the storage over time. And then we have over here this assembly electric. This is going to make 3 uranium rods. And this is why I've put 2 of these nuclear reactors, because one at level 3 will use 1.5. So this is enough for both of these. This will use steel and enriched uranium. The steel is just over here, transported from time to time. It is really slow, 0.75, that's nothing. The enriched uranium is coming from there. This is coming from all of those buildings over here, the enrichment plant, where we're gonna take yellow cake and hydrogen fluoride to make this enriched uranium and a bit of depleted uranium. For now, I cannot actually do much with it, so that's why I'm storing it in this big thing over there. But in the future, we'll actually be able to do something, for the next levels of the reactors. So that's also why I want to keep it into the storage and not just dump it into the sea, for example. So that is what is happening over here, right? We're doing this. I have 4 of these because this is only 0.75 for one. And remember that we need 3. This will require hydrogen fluoride and yellow cake. This is coming from this side. We have on that side over here the yellow cake, and we have on this side over here the hydrogen fluoride. Then it goes in this pipe. This way we have a reserve. Similarly for this one, it's gonna go there, then we have a reserve. Then it goes this way at level 0, and this one goes there at level 2, I think. Because at level 1, we actually have the acid going on this pipe there as one of the 2 input that is needed on both sides. We need it on both sides. On this side, what else do we need? We need a bit of rocks. So that's what you can see over here. And with this, we're gonna make the hydrogen fluoride and a bit of slag. The slag is going there all the way to be outputted. Then on this side, we have the iron ore crushed and the acid to make the yellow cake and the toxic slurry. So the yellow cake, as I said, goes over here. That's easy. The toxic slurry goes there. It will go into this thing. We'll talk it into a second. And then from the input, the acid we already looked at. And then at level 0, you have the uranium ore crushed, right? Which is being crushed by this thing over there. And we have the uranium ore there. Then, as I said, the only thing we haven't talked about is the toxic slurry, where we need filter media and a bit of brine to make water and slag. So again, the slag will go into the same place. The water will be outputted over here. This is the brine that's needed. This is the filter media that's needed. Then basically what will most of the time happen is one truck will take this water when it gets too full and will deliver it over here because we need water to make this acid into this mixer, right, with a bit of sulfur. So that's why you have the sulfur over here. This filter media over here, we really don't need much, right? This is 6 per minute. So I just have this small production over here. This is gravel, sand, and coal to make the filter media. There was a lot of those production, the gravel, the sand, etc. This is all over here, so that's why I put it there. We could link it maybe to the furnaces in the back over there or something like this, but for now, not so important. So yeah, that's what's happening over here. Of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to tell me. Now what we can do is actually start it together, right? Here it is. I do suggest you start it first at level 1 to get it started. Make sure that you don't have a problem, that you have enough flow, for example, of water. Because if you start it directly at level 3, it will require 288 of water, which maybe you don't have yet over here. Because remember, it's gonna take some time for this to get the steam depleted to make the water. So I do suggest, yeah, you start for 1 or 2 minutes at level 1. Then when you see this is working well, you can start it higher. Also, what I do suggest that you do is, you actually pause these ones. If you only have one that's working, you only keep one. Then when you put the second one on, you unpause the second one. When you go to level 3, you unpause the third one. This way, these guys are going to really work at 100%, versus if all of these are on pause, but you're only at level 1, what will happen is you're going to lose a lot of efficiency over here. Even over here right now, I don't really have the efficiency yet because it's just kicking off. So it's going to take a bit of time to really get to it. So what you can also do is, for example, you pause half of it. So soon this will get a bit higher because, you need all of the pipes to get full and all those type of things. Now this is getting higher. So as soon as you see that, unpause these ones, and this will go back. Perfect. Because we are producing 96 and only using 44, so that wasn't great. But now, yeah, this should be working. The other thing you should be careful of and definitely do is make sure this is priority 1, right? Always working, and there's not another production that's gonna use your electricity. This should be what uses the electricity first and foremost. So now with this, we shouldn't have an electricity problem for a while. But that doesn't mean we don't have problems. I'm gonna show you what my new problems are now. But before we do, there is another big improvement that I've done, which is over here. We used to make medical supplies level 1. Now we're moving to medical supply level 2. And you may ask why, and that's a great question. So let me show you. If you look into your clinic, medical supplies level 1, they give 0.6 unity, plus 15 of health, and a mortality rate reduction of 0.6. You know, when you have an influenza or something like this, basically you will lose less people. With medical supply level 2, you move to 0.8 unity, to 20 health, and 1% of mortality reduction. So basically, maybe you're not surprised, but yeah, level 2 is better than level 1. So it makes sense to do it. And it's actually also not that hard, because medical supply level 2, it's medical supply level 1 plus antibiotics. Antibiotics, this is a new recipe we just unlocked in the fermentation tank, which is taking a bit of sugar, and we've been making sugar in the last episode, a bit of ammonia, and a bit of oxygen to make the antibiotics and the carbon dioxide. So what is happening is right now I'm just sending the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The antibiotics are going into this to be stored, to have a buffer, right? And in terms of the input are coming from here. We have this creating the oxygen, right? The oxygen is going there. Then we're also going to use the nitrogen. We're going to use the nitrogen into a chemical plant to make the ammonia needed. This is going to require a bit of hydrogen, which we are getting from this electrolyzer, taking water to make the oxygen and the hydrogen. The oxygen just sent to the atmosphere because I already have too much oxygen over here anyway, and the water just comes from there. You do need to make sure that you have those pipe balancer with exhaust for the oxygen and the nitrogen, because otherwise you may get into a situation where you have too much oxygen and therefore you're not gonna produce any more nitrogen or vice versa. But yeah, this is another small blueprint that I'll share with you all, of course, on my Discord community. So what are those problems I was talking about? Well, there is two. The first one is we're definitely not producing enough food. As I said in one of the previous episodes, this is enough food for all of my population with the edicts of increasing the consumption, but only if we get to 140% of fertility, meaning with a lot of fertilizer. And even with the contract for the sour water, we were not producing enough fertilizer at all. So what I want to do is now I've started to put some soil over here, close this copper mine. I know it is not empty, there's still some copper. Maybe in 200 or 400 years we'll come back and get this copper. But for now, there is so much copper all the way over here, all the way over there, that we don't need more copper. I have copper everywhere there. So this mine is not useful. Instead, we're gonna put soil and we're gonna expand the farms way more. So more farms, this will require more water, of course, but I think that's gonna be a cool project. The other thing you may realize is over here, my diesel and crude oil, this is not working well. I've actually even been using Unity to have a boost on some of those distillation because I was not making enough diesel to feed all of my trucks that were running around. Also because we need diesel to upgrade all of our trucks and excavators. So yeah, I'm not making enough diesel, and the problem is this is working at full speed, and also we're not getting enough crude oil anyway. So we need to do a couple of things. First is basically, I know I said this will be the ultimate diesel factory, but actually I think we need to go even bigger. From 4, we're gonna move to 8. And we're gonna try to do this in an even more compact way. Then on top of this, we need more crude oil. And right now we're getting our crude oil from the oil rig at already level 8. This is consuming more than 100 people, more than 3 unity. This is huge. Instead, I think we need to work more with some of those contracts to get more crude oil. For example, over here, we have 120 vehicle parts for more than 1,000 of crude oil. That could be quite good. Also over here, if we start making more food, maybe we can use food packs to crude oil or gold to crude oil. Also computers, we haven't unlocked yet, but in the future, that could be a good one. So anyway, all that to say that in the next episode, we need to really change our diesel production, make it even better. and I also want to increase my food production. Don't hesitate to smash the like button, share in the comments if you have any questions, thoughts or requests, and I hope to see you next time.